Hi, I'm Andrew, and I'm here to tell you about why I'm considered my school's biggest loser. But I still end up getting all the girls. But before anything else, subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, and click that notification bell icon to show your support for me. Being a loser comes easily to me. I suck at everything. While some people have a Midas touch, everything I touch seems to turn into trash. It was a beautiful summer day when I first set foot on campus. This is where I would be spending the next 4 years, I thought, as I looked around at the marvels this new place held. Beautifully abstract marble sculptures adorned the large open lawns, and strewn about were couples and cliques. Flocks of simp girls bustled about, while jocks attempted to intercept them with basic one-liners. I was nervous, yet excited at the same time. I was alone in a giant ocean of potential friends, and I gulped. Enemies. I started down the long pathway to the introductory session, where a large crowd of first years had already gathered in the amphitheater. I found an empty spot near the back where the crowd was less concentrated, and plopped myself down on the concrete pavilion. I arrived 20 minutes early to be sure I got a seat, but I had no idea that there would be so many people. Soon, there were students all around me, and I found myself sandwiched between two of the prettiest girls I had ever seen. I offered to switch seats, but it was so packed that moving was almost impossible. Hi, I'm Catherine, but people call me Kat, and this is my friend Lisa. Kathy introduced herself to me and beckoned over to Lisa with a smile. Hey, I'm Andrew, I replied, introducing myself to the girls and flashing them my best impression of a seductive smile. Aww, Lisa said in a squeaky voice. Aren't you just the cutest teddy bear? I could just eat you up. Whoa, Lisa, slow down. We just got here, Kat said, laughing to her friend. Everything's going too well, I thought as the speakers boomed into action. Test, 1, 2, test, 1, 2, the sound guy blabbed half-heartedly through the microphone. The conversation all around died down, and everyone fixated on the stage as a short, stern woman clad from head to toe in shocking pink made her way over to the podium on stage. She was emanating "don't test me" vibes with every step. I am legally obliged to welcome you to your first year at Summer Point Academy, an alarmingly deep voice blared over the speakers. My name is Dr. Amelia Rosenstein, she introduced herself. Please note that there will be no room for subpar performance. Here at Summer Point, we strive for excellence in every field, she continued. She needs to stride towards better wardrobe choices, a voice from behind said, causing Kat, Lisa, and I to snicker. As if on cue, the soul-crushing weight of her stare locked onto me, as I was the last to regain my composure. Thank you, young man. Would you please join me? She invited in a frighteningly sweet voice. My entire life flashed before my eyes as the color first drained from my face, before being replaced with a deep crimson blush. The thought of simply running crossed my mind, but there was no way to get out without trampling somebody. Kat and Lisa did not even avert their gaze as I stood up, and started to make my way to the stairs. As I arrived at the stage, I realized the stairs were only available from outside, and I would have to climb onto the stage. I tried a running jumpstart to get up, but instead of gracefully leaping like a gazelle, I made it about halfway before I came crashing down onto the floor. As I landed, I farted. At first, the entire crowd was silent, but soon everybody burst out laughing. Even the janitor standing by the nearest door couldn't help himself. I looked up and saw even Kat and Lisa couldn't contain themselves, as people started yelling out, "Loser! Fart boy!" and all manner of lewd insults. Thank you for that excellent demonstration. I would like everyone here to use this young man as an example of what not to do. As I am certain he will end up getting nowhere in life, you are dismissed, Dr. Rosenstein said, as the crowd immediately drew quiet. I was so embarrassed. I wished I could just spontaneously combust that instant. I hastily walked out the door and sought out a quiet, shady place nearby where I could hide. I stayed there for what felt like forever, and eventually saw people filtering out of the venue. At some point, I saw even Kat and Lisa exit. I hoped nobody would remember, but everyone that passed my way had some awful thing to say as they went by. "Thought you could evade us, huh?" came Kat's soothing voice from behind me, nearly giving me a heart attack. "I thought you would have gone home," came Lisa's voice, gently teasing me. I turned around and saw the two girls, pretty as ever, standing there, with Kat holding onto my bag. "You forgot this," Kat said, handing my bag to me. Thank you," I said, batting back the tears that were in the corner of my eyes. "Don't mention it. I mean, really, don't mention it in front of anyone," Kat said, giggling. "Do you want to join us for lunch?" Lisa asked. "It'll be off campus, of course," she continued. I followed the two girls to lunch, expecting entirely for this to be a prank since I was now the biggest loser on campus. And these two girls must easily be the prettiest. I hesitantly agreed and followed them, from a distance so as to not make it appear like we were together. They led me to their shared luxurious apartment, and Lisa started to prepare an amazing meal. "You really kind of saved us in there," Kat said, smirking. "If you weren't there, it could have been one of us," Lisa said matter-of-factly from the open-plan kitchen. "For that, we really owe you," Kat said, planting a kiss on my cheek. I was stunned. I was never expecting to end up here on my first day. And after what I experienced earlier, I would never have thought they would even talk to me again. After lunch, we exchanged contact details. We learned that we were all enrolled in the same classes, and that we would be seeing a lot of each other. I learned that Lisa was the smart, studious one, and that Kat was the social butterfly. Over the course of the next 2 years, we applied ourselves, partied, and spent all our time growing closer. Lisa was really great at taking notes, so she became our designated notesmith. Kat and I ended up secretly dating, as we actually had a lot of things in common. Over time, with Kat's help, I managed to gradually change my image on campus, until eventually, it was okay for us to be seen in public. I was thrilled that we managed to make this much progress in such a short time. And with my newfound status as the guy dating the hottest girl on campus, every other person on campus grew to envy me over time. With our continued efforts applying ourselves, we finally reached the final year of our school. Since we worked so hard, we were receiving only top grades for our classes. And soon, we were the envy of even the most studious of nerds. We were receiving awards for a continued academic performance and knocked people off the charts left, right, and center. As the top 3 students, we each were expected to give a brief speech at the graduation ceremony. I dreaded this more than anything, as I knew there would be another opportunity for Dr. Rosenstein to mock and degrade me. Kat and Lisa had their speeches all wrapped up and prepared, and I couldn't think of anything other than my horrifying introduction to the other students that first day. As the time grew nearer, even Lisa's amazing cooking and Kat's constant positive reinforcement couldn't offset how nervous I was. The day before the graduation, Kat and I had a date at a tiny romantic cafe near campus. "I love you, you know," she said to me. "No matter how much of a silly, no-account fart boy you end up being," she continued in the kindest, most loving voice I'd ever heard from her. "I didn't know how to make you feel better about the graduation, so I thought, what if I gave you something else to be nervous about?" she said, while staring deep into my eyes. As she said that, she got down onto her knee. "Andrew, fart boy, no-account Thompson, will you marry me?" she asked with a nervous voice. This was the first time I had ever seen her nervous. Of course!" I cried out as I let her put the ring on my finger and shouted to the entire cafe, "We're getting married!" The people in the cafe started applauding as we embraced in a passionate kiss. And she was right. With the prospect of marriage on the horizon, there was no way I could let something as trivial as my graduation unnerve me. With this newfound courage, I joined the handful of top students on stage. As I was the third in class, I had to speak before either Kat or Lisa, and as such, found myself face to face with Dr. Rosenstein as she handed out our diplomas. I stepped onto the podium, and for the first time in my life, I felt comfortable in front of a crowd. "Fellow students, I came to you 4 years ago, unsure, uncertain, a pitiful loser with no prospects in life. I'm glad that in my time here, I have managed to change from the person known as Fart Boy to the person who's getting married to both the hottest and second smartest girl on campus. No offense, Lisa. I jokingly gestured at Lisa. I thank each and every one of you for mocking me. But especially you, Dr. Rosenstein, I said. I would like to thank you above all, because instead of helping to build me into a better person, you chose to bully and ridicule me in front of the entire school. And now, I can leave here knowing that my future looks brighter than ever, and certainly brighter than your shocking fashion choices, I ended. With this, the crowd of graduates and all their parents burst out laughing as I walked back to my spot next to Kat and Lisa and gave Kat a passionate kiss.